Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Digital Classroom. And today it's about bringing the magic in your images. We're going to introduce a new product for the Dutch market, and it's called Black Mist. Doesn't that sound awesome? Okay, so one of the first things that you will find out during your journey as a photographer is that certain things you don't want in your images. And one of the first of those things is actually lens flare. You don't want that in there. And that's also what manufacturers know. So all their lenses are now coated with anti-glare or anti-lens flare coatings. And that's awesome, right? Never those annoying lens flares anymore. But as soon as you start growing as a photographer, you find out that there are certain elements in your images that can actually bring in a little bit of magic. Think about smoke, gels, colors, high contrast lighting, styling. Awesome, right? It brings the magic in your shots. And then at one point you start to realize like, hey, if I do smoke, and that really is nice. In the 70s, they used a lot of lens flares. Let's experiment with that. And that's where you actually start hitting your head against the wall. Because with these modern lenses, this is a G Master from Sony. This is an awesome lens. It's super fast, it's super sharp. It's my favorite lens. It's almost glued on my camera. But lens flare? No, sorry sir, we don't do that. And that's terrible because I love lens flares. So I can make lens flares with this lens, but I need a lot of power. And to a point where it's actually almost ridiculous. But hey, that's positive from the lens, right? That's what it's designed to do. Now, of course, the first thing you can do is take off your sun hood. That helps a lot because the sun hood is actually designed to prevent lens flares. You can also, for example, breathe on your lens. It will give you a little bit of that glow in your image, but it's a far cry from lens flare. So how do you create lens flares? First of all, buy the cheapest lens you can buy, but then you also have a problem. Because often they don't fit your Sony camera, you need a converter, often they're manual focusable, and they're not as pin sharp, for example, as this lens. And you don't want to do any sacrifices, right? Because you want to use this all the time, because you love the lens flares in your images. So that's not a real solution. Another solution, of course, is to try Lensbaby. Awesome lenses, I absolutely love them. The only problem is, manual focusable, and it's not the G Master lens. It doesn't have that nice out of focus and that zoom range and that beautiful colors. So how do you solve it? Well, a few months ago I was actually approached by a friend of mine and he said, Frank, you have to try out the K&F Concept Black Mist filter. Now, I'm not a big filter guy. I'm a fashion photographer, I teach workshops, and most of all, when I do landscapes, maybe a polarizer, that's about it, and maybe a neutral density filter to make the water like silky, but I'm not a real filter guy. So when they sent me the Black Mist filter, I was first a little bit hesitant, but you know what, just put it on your camera. Now, I didn't start out by using backlighting. I started out with a normal photo shoot of a portrait. And at that point, I already saw that in the skin, there was this very, very nice, it wasn't a glow, but you know when you do Photoshop and you retouch the skin and you use a filter and you use it very, very slightly. So it still looks 100% natural, but there's this little, almost silky look towards the skin. So the eyes are sharp, all the hairs are sharp. It looks amazing, but there's this little glow over the skin. Well, the first time I used this, that was immediately something that drew my eyes. It was not very much, but just a little bit. So it made retouching a little bit easier. During that same photo shoot, I started using backlighting, and that's when my mouth dropped to the floor. My jaw dropped to the floor, actually. Otherwise, it would be really terrible. This gives you such a beautiful lens flare. So how does it work? Well, you screw it in front of your lens, and we also have magnetic versions. So you screw it in front of your lens, and thanks to a lot of nano dots, and when you hear nano, that's magic, right? It actually means very small. A lot of nano dots will actually create a diffuse glow in your images. And for me, this is the magic ingredient for many of my shots ever since I started using it. Now again, I did use lens flares a lot before, but that was always with specialty lenses like Lensbabies, M42s, or with a ridiculous amount of light hitting my lens. With this one, I don't have to try anymore. It's very simple. You place your lights aimed towards the filter, so towards your lens, and you place it slightly higher than normal, and boom, there you have this beautiful lens flare. Now, if you don't like the lens flare, no problem at all. You just place your light under a slightly different angle and you don't see the lens flare. I always call this a little bit like the multiplication of my lens flares. So it helps a lot, but you can still shoot without lens flares. Now, why do I make this video? Very simple. First of all, I want to point out to you guys that this filter exists, because still a lot of people don't know anything about the black mist filters, and they keep emailing me like, Frank, how do you get those beautiful lush lens flares? Well, this is the secret weapon. And there's also another reason. Now, over the years, we've tried to incorporate many products into our workflow, and some products are nice, but we don't sell them for the very simple reason they're nice, but I don't use them all the time. There are a few products out there that I'm very, very enthusiastic about and that I will use myself every single day. And I couldn't live without them, as well, you know what I mean, right? Very hard. And this is one of those filters, and those products we actually sell in our own web shop, and we try to find dealers in the Netherlands. So we're very proud actually to announce that for now, the black mist filters are available from our website, and we will try to get them into the stores in the Netherlands. We already have an internet store that sells them, so I will leave the link below if you're in the Netherlands. And if you're not in the Netherlands, make sure you find a dealer that sells you the black mist filter, or just order it from our store. We can send it to you. So the black mist filters, absolutely awesome. Now, if you are the kind of photographer that goes like, hey, I love it on my camera, but I don't want it on all the time, and I hate to screw it on every time, check out the magnetic version, because they also have a magnetic version, and that's awesome. You just place the magnetic holder, you hold the filter, click, and it just stays on. You shoot, and you take it off again. So the magnetic one might be the solution for you. I just use the screw ones because I never take them off. So thank you so very much for watching, guys, and the black mist filters, highly recommended for that little bit of magic in your shots. See you again next time. Bye, guys.